Here we go. I went live. Yep. There it is. It's on our Facebook page.
Here we go.
Yep. Okay, we'll let some people come in. Have you got it up on your phone?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if I'm ready. I have to be ready.
Okay, just give it a couple of minutes, see if we get people on with us.
Mm-hmm.
We've never used this before. I don't know how it works.
No, oh,
How do
it
we
does show us
see?
if there's anyone. It does show us up the top.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I found this streaming platform like on YouTube. I did some research of the best ones, like comparing different sites, and this
Yep.
was the best overall one. So I thought I'd give it a go.
Okay.
Oh, here we go. We've got one viewer.
Oh, great. I can't see that. But
Oh, well,
anyway.
I can, so at least one of us can.
Okay, well, let's start then.
All right. Hello, welcome to Witch B1tch, where we talk the real tea. Today is our first ever live, and it just so happens to be on the blood moon happening tonight. So that's exciting and kind of meant to be, I think. We're both super excited and nervous, and we're just so grateful for you all to be here with us. So, yeah.
We started Witch B1tch because we wanted to have real conversations with real people, and we wanted to heal through those conversations and get the truth from the collective through our witchy feminine energy. We wanted to bring our special mother-daughter combination energy into this space. And yeah, so that's what we're doing. We thought we'd get it done, and we did, and here we are. So yeah, I'm really excited about being here tonight with Juliet, and we hope that you enjoy what we have to offer.
Very well said. Yeah, we came up with this for a while, like we just brainstormed different ideas, and we were really excited about it, and for it to like really be happening kind of so quickly is like just amazing. I think the energies have really been just going crazy lately, especially leading up to tonight with the full blood moon in Scorpio and the Mercury retrograde that's kind of happening at the moment. I feel like the energies have really sped up. Like every day feels like 10 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw a
I
meme.
was
I saw a meme yesterday that said, "What a year this week has been." So, yeah, I thought, yeah, that's so true.
100%. Like I was down in the yard. Yes, I think it was yesterday. Honestly, I don't know. I think it was yesterday, where me and Dad were like working in the yard together, laying down the grass and like laying down all this new grass. And we also had to make a chicken fence. Like there was a couple jobs that we had to do. And we first worked on the chicken fence, and then we moved on to laying down the grass. And we'd almost finished the grass. And I looked at the chicken fence, and I was like, I felt like we put that up yesterday when it was just like 2 hours ago. It's just insane.
Yeah. I think you just have to roll with it. You
Yeah,
just have to, yeah, you just have to roll with it. You can't, if you resist it, it makes it worse. I mean, what I
I
kind
love
of,
it.
yeah, what I kind of do is kind of like look at it and try and find the humor in it and kind of go, yeah, it's crazy, but if I don't, it's like when you're tumbling around in the waves, if you don't allow your body to just tumble, then the waves are going to break your back. And
Yeah.
that's how I feel like this is happening. Like it'll just break our backs if we don't just allow it. And it's so
Yeah.
hard because it's so hard to allow it because we're so addicted to being in control of everything. I mean, yeah, me too, because I came from corporate. I was flying for Qantas for 20 something years and I was a manager. So I had to manage people, I had to manage the flight. Everything was about control. Everything. Because, you know, if you weren't in control, people got scared, because especially if you're flying. So unlearning all of that now, becoming a witch as I am. Yeah, learning to be out of, like, not out of control, because that's something different again, but not to covet that control so much and allowing
Yeah.
life to take you where it needs to take you is really hard.
Yeah, I feel like that's part of like being your highest self is just
Mm.
finding the balance between knowing when you are in control and like when it's time to step up into your power. And then there's different times where it's like, oh no, I have to let the universe take this one because I don't know what I'm doing and I can't help it. And right now is one of those times because like we've
Mm.
got all these cosmic events stacking up against each other. We were looking at that meme earlier today of the universe throwing a Mercury retrograde, a Scorpio full blood moon all in one weekend. Oh, and Friday the 13th all in one weekend. Like, just everything is stacking up against each other, and we can't do anything about it. Like, we literally can't change the date. We can't change how the moon looks. There's no point in,
Or
like,
feels.
yeah. And that's been tough for me. Like, I've just had to like just curl up into a ball and just be watching TV shows on my computer like all day. Like I've really tried to go out there and like I tried to ride my bike today and then
Yeah, that's
my
right. You had a flat
tire was
tire.
flat. Like I really tried to push myself today to go out to the beach and just be in nature. I tried to push myself to go out and live life. And then I went down the hill and I was like, this is hard. Why is it so hard to ride my bike? And then I was like, hang on, is my tire flat again? And I looked down, it was just like on the
Yeah.
concrete, like so flat. And I was like, oh, I have to go all the way up the hill. And I was contemplating it because I realized halfway down the hill that my tire was flat. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go up the hill. So I'm just kept going. It'll be like, no, it's fine. I'll just push myself to go to the beach. I'll just push through it. I'll just push through it. And then I'm like, that's going to be a horrible time riding that bike all the way to the beach because it's a 30-minute bike ride. So I got down the hill and I'm like, I'm going to have to go back up the hill. So I went back up the hill and it was fine. Like I wasn't even that tired, but it was just the universe sending me back to
Mm.
home, send me back to the rock, to the cave that I had built myself over the
Mm.
weekend. And I really wanted to get out of the cave that I built, but I tried and I couldn't. So I'm like, okay, well, at least that's permission from the universe. Because before I was just punishing myself for being like, you're being lazy, you're just sitting on your computer. But at least that
That's
was a sign from
resistance right
the
there. Yeah.
mm, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, learning to be okay with the energies that are going on. Because for some people, they're being lifted up by this like Mercury retrograde, and then other people are being pushed flat to the ground,
Yeah.
squished, smushed, and everything. And that's me down there, like a little bug on the floor. That's how I've been feeling. Yeah. So
The
learning to
way
be
I
okay
dealt
with it.
with it today is I just went outside and cut all the plants back. I
Yes.
got my
Anger
set
out.
spurs and just gave everything a good haircut.
Yeah.
It's
That
like
was
if you
actually nice.
yeah, if it was just like I need to do something, but I knew that I didn't want to be far from home, but I wanted to get that, I wanted to get that aggression out. And
Yeah.
so I was just like cutting everything back.
Yeah.
And it
I
felt
really
really good.
yeah. That's what it was like yesterday, helping my dad, or maybe it was the day before, I don't know. Helping dad with the yard, because I was doing the same thing in the backyard, chopping the weeds down. And that it was actually really fun. I was worried about getting bugs all over me, but I didn't. Even helping you with the weeds out the front, like I had to pull out all these weeds from the cracks in the concrete. And there was bugs everywhere. That's something that I learned today, that bugs are everywhere in the dirt, like even in the tiny little creases between concrete, like path blocks.
Mm.
Like I didn't realize that before, because
That's where
pulling
they
out those
live. That's
weeds.
their home.
I know, it's crazy because there's so many of them, but I thought they were just in the grass. Like I wouldn't think there would be any worms or like what is it? Those lily pilly bugs? Is that what they're called? What are they called when they like
Roly
curl up in a
polies,
ball? Roly poly. Yeah, sorry.
pill
Um,
bugs.
yeah, that's where it was. Because lily pillies are also like a plant here, so like a
Yeah.
fruit thing. So I was just getting mixed up. But yeah, there's just so many of them there. I thought that they like, why would they choose to live in those little tiny crevices? Like there's nothing there really. I thought there would only be yeah. Thanks, Anna.
What
Yeah,
did she
I
say?
she said I crack her up. Because I called them lily pillies probably. Yeah, so I didn't realize that they would be in those tiny little cracks of dirt. Like I thought they would only be in the grass, but they're not. They're everywhere. So
Well, that's like the microcosm. That's like those cracks are like their little cities and roadways, and they because they're so
yes.
small. They those. I mean, they're only small to us, but they're big to them.
Mm, yes.
So, yeah,
It's a change of perspective.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so how are you feeling? I've talked about feeling smushed to the ground with this Mercury retrograde. How have you been feeling?
Well, you asked that question in the group today, and I said I feel like I'm on a roller
Oh yeah.
coaster ride up to space with no spacesuit on, and it's true. I feel ungrounded, and like a lot of stuff is coming up,
Mm,
and but which is a good thing. But you don't like you. It's stuff that I've been putting aside, and I don't want to look at, and been trying to avoid. But yeah, it's like layers of an onion. Like you clear a layer, and retrograde, like you clear 10 layers.
mm,
That's what happens. It's like you clear 10 layers, and they're all the layers that you'd been putting off and putting off and putting off to the very end. And retrograde is like, nah, sorry, not putting it off anymore. We're getting to the nitty gritty. And
mm.
and yeah, so that's what it kind of feels like to me. It's the nitty gritty stuff. And
Yeah.
and you need your oxygen to get down there and get it and be able to breathe at the same time, because it's all like it's like, oh
Suffocating.
yeah, yeah.
I agree
It's
with that.
okay. It's okay. It is what it is.
Yeah. I think for me, when like how you're talking about the layers of just shooting down through like 10 layers,
Mm,
when things get that crazy and overwhelming, the way that I just automatically deal with it is just shut everything out. Everything is gone, and I'm just like have to surround myself with distraction, and it's just like my higher self, or whatever it is, just dealing with it in my unconscious brain, like
mm,
my human version of myself, and the part of me that sees and is completely conscious and like is, yeah, fully human, just doesn't know how to cope. So
yeah.
it's just like all the background, it's all happening in the background, and I don't realize that it's happened until like it's all over and I've come out of my little hobbit hole, and I'm like, oh, everything's fine. I'm not dying, because it feels like that. It feels like I'm just,
Being
yeah.
squished.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And today, the moment that I like finally took a second to breathe and just focus on something other than the screen and was talking to you, that was when that thing came up about not knowing what I want to do for
Mm,
money and financial stability. Because I know there's so many things that I want to do, which is really amazing because last year I had no idea what I wanted to do at all. But this year I have like a million things that I want to learn and do and like, figure out and try. But none of them I want to do as like a career or any sort of way to make money. Because for me, the second money's involved, it ruins it. Like I don't. Maybe, maybe for the first couple months, we'll be like, yeah, that's great. I want to try and figure out a way to make money, but it's not a long term money. When money's involved, it's not a long term thing. Like it uh, destroys the enjoyment of
yeah.
it. So at least when I'm purposefully trying to make money out of, one of these things I want to try, whether it's making jewelry or painting or, you know, dancing or whatever it is, like when I'm purposefully, intentionally trying to make money, it just ruins the experience for me. So one thing I learned from, everything that's coming up in the world right now is that like I don't know what I want to do for money. So that was a good realization instead of trying to just do everything and make money like I have been doing. Because I've been like trying things and enjoying them and being like, oh, wow, I actually enjoy this. Let's try and make it into a job. And then I make it into a job and then I just fall off it. Like I don't enjoy it as much anymore and it changes the whole vibe of what I'm doing. So, yeah, it's good to realize that instead of like keep going with it and keep trying new things and then falling off and trying new things and falling off. I'm glad that I realized that. Um, so that was a good thing that came up.
Yeah.
I'm very grateful.
Thank you, Mercury retrograde.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think another big thing that I wanted to talk about, and I'm sure you're the same, Mum, is something that's been coming up is like a lot of mental health
Mm,
things,
yeah.
and and like I think it's a good time to talk about, especially my generation and the younger generations with mental health, because you look at the statistics and it's skyrocketed. Like half the people that I know that are in my generation have some form of mental health issue. And I'd love to talk more about why our personal opinions about why that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think it had something to do with COVID, or do you think it was before COVID? Do you think it's to do with the media, or maybe
Well,
everything?
I definitely think it was before COVID, but that's not saying that COVID didn't make it even worse.
Mm,
Um, but it was definitely before, all that hit the earth.
yeah.
um, because like even before then, it was it was becoming a trending sort of thing to have depression or anxiety or like, yeah, I felt like in high school, if you didn't have depression or you didn't have some form of mental health, like you couldn't relate to many people.
Like a
And
label.
yeah, you couldn't relate to other people. It was like a sort of competition of who had the worst mental health. That was
Really?
at least in my experience. Yeah, especially in my friend group. Like it was just a complaining battle all the time. Like who had the worst day, and if you didn't have the worst day, then you lost, which is kind of ironic because, like, wouldn't you
Who
want
wants to have the worst
like
day?
you kind of lose no matter what. Like there's no winning in that situation. But yeah, it was just every time at lunch it was like complaining about, say you had math the period before, everyone would just complain about their math class because all the math teachers were just crap. And so everyone had a complaining battle about math class and homework and assignments, and like if you had more assignments than somebody else, then you had like complaining rights or something.
Oh
And
gosh.
Yeah, and it was the same for mental health. It was like, but in a more vague, like no one would really openly, compare mental health, but it was an undertone of the school, I definitely think. And just in my generation, in general, like just people, yeah. If you
It
it's
was
like
like a
kind of like that.
self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. Like if someone was saying, "Oh, I have a broken finger," and the person next to them has a broken leg, and they would be like, "Shut up, I have a broken leg." It's kind of like that. Like it's all about how big your problem is. Like even if your injury is not as bad as the person next to you, it doesn't mean that it doesn't hurt.
Mm.
So, yeah,
And
it's
everyone has
kind of
their
like that.
rights to their feelings.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And
No matter how small they are or no matter how
mm,
big they are, it's your experience in your life and it's teaching
yeah,
you something, so it's valid.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. It is for sure a self-fulfilling prophecy because I think some because of that comparison and you're not allowed to complain unless you have a broken leg or a big injury, people go out seeking that, having a
Yeah.
worse mental health, like they try and look out for bigger problems to have,
What
just so they
benefit are
can
they getting
feel.
from that, do you reckon?
I think to be able to complain to other people, like, because I know that sounds strange, but complaining is, I think, in balance, very important because it's like a outlet of your feelings, of being able to talk about what you're going through. And as long as you're not doing it all the time and being like negative, complaining can be a really helpful tool when you're overwhelmed with negativity or you're really being impacted by a life event. Being able to complain about it helps. At least it helps me. I don't know about
So
you.
it's like a reverse congratulations, like a pat on the back for having the worst life. It's like, yay, bragging rights.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's like. At least that's in my experience. And also, as someone like who did the anxiety test at the doctors, it is so easy to fake it or to exaggerate it. Like, all he asks you are 10 questions, and you rate the questions based off of, you know, a 1 to 10. And then, like, I didn't do the test to be prescribed any medication or anything, but say you do go into the doctor's office with the intention of getting, some sort of anxiety medication, or I don't know about the depression test, but I did the anxiety test and it was really just simple. Anyone can go in there and get prescribed medication, and I don't think that's right. I think there needs to be deeper testing. Unless I've got it wrong and you do, maybe because I wasn't going in for medication, there is different protocol. And like maybe just because I was only getting a script for a psychologist or whatever, like it was a different thing. But I can't imagine that the case. I think, it's an anxiety test. I don't know how it would be different for, what you're going in for.
It's part of it would be part of the process.
Yeah,
Maybe there might be extra steps, but that would be probably at the
part of it.
beginning. Yeah.
Mm, yeah. It was just so easy. Like all you had to do is answer questions.
So the system's sucking people in, and so it's rewarding them for having these neuroses. Is that what you're
Yeah.
saying?
Well, that's what I feel because, medication is the blockage of, you know, free will in a sense. Like I've been talking to other people my age and seen it on social media, like people's experience with medication from um like someone I saw on TikTok who I follow was misdiagnosed and they actually had bipolar, and I think they were on ADHD medication or anxiety medication or something when they actually had bipolar. They were misdiagnosed for like years and years, and this medication completely screwed them up. Like they couldn't feel properly and they just weren't. their best selves because they were on the wrong medication. And I think it's because there's tests like this that are completely stupid and just don't, they're the most brief of brief, and you can easily just fake it, or maybe not fake it, but you might answer the questions and you might be answering them honestly, and the test is for anxiety, but you're actually feeling these things because of something else that kind of
Mm.
correlates with anxiety but isn't the same thing. Because I imagine if you had bipolar, the symptoms of anxiety and bipolar would be relatively similar. Like there would be some connections there in your answers to the questions. So what I think is that it's purposefully vague and covering a very broad spectrum, because it's easy just to you know shoo them off and be like, okay, we'll just have this medication, and that leads to more money for big companies and big pharma, and it also lowers the vibration and the consciousness of young people, which I
So,
think that they're targeting.
do you think there is a place in society for medication as long as it's not long term, or do you think that we should do away with it altogether?
Oh, I love this question because I was actually thinking about it earlier this week. I do believe that there is a very beautiful place for medication and medicine, and Western medicine. But the thing with Western medicine is that there's no they only deal with issues that come up at present. Like they don't focus on reducing risks or um
All right, so they're like a band-aid
plant-based
solution.
health. Yeah, so like say someone has diabetes, there's not much protocol to help someone before they have diabetes and tell the public, hey, don't eat junk food, and because they actually push junk food. If you look at sponsors of cancer organizations, there's KFC. Like KFC is sponsoring cancer organizations. So yeah, there's definitely some weird crap that goes on behind the scenes. But what I'm saying is there's a place for Western medicine in surgeries, and like I don't know where it would be. Imagine the amount of women that would die from childbirth if there was no like medication or the system that we have now to help women with giving birth. That's not to say that it's perfect, because I still think there's some issues there, but overall I think there's some really good benefits from Western medicine, but there's also some really big issues there. And I think there's a
Mm,
balance between Eastern and traditional plant medicines where it's boosting immune systems, boosting your body and supporting your body. But then there's those emergency situations where you get hit by a car, or
mm.
like something happens where you can't really help it and you need the hospital. And I think if we balance that out, there wouldn't be a need for things like doctors like today, where we have those stupid anxiety tests that I don't think really work, to be honest. So yeah, but I think there's a balance. I think there's
Yeah.
a really good balance that we could find as a society. What about you? How do you feel about Western
Well,
medicine?
I've been on antidepressants before, a long, long, long time ago, and I think they do have a place um, for a temporary fix. I was on it for 6 months. It was a situational thing. I had situational depression, and I was on antidepressants for 6 months, and they did help for that period of time. And then the situation changed, and the depression left me, and I no longer needed them. And then through that experience, I was able to, the next time depression came knocking, I was able to see the signs in myself. I knew that it was happening. the first time it happened, I didn't know what was happening, and I went to the doctor, and he prescribed the antidepressants, and I went on. I mean, I was crying at work and things like that, so I needed help. She can't be a flight attendant, chicken or fish. You know,
Yeah.
the toilets are that way. You know, or doing your you know, your mask and you're pulling your. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
the
been so long
demonstration
now, I don't even remember it. You know, you're doing your safety demo and you're crying through the safety demo, and people are looking at you going, what's wrong with her? So, you know, it helped in that sense. But then next time it happened, because there are times in your life that depression happens and you need help.
Yeah.
Because you can't do it yourself. You can't see the wood for the trees, and you need somebody to help you. But this time, the next time that it happened, I could see the signs. And so I sought help earlier on
Yeah.
before it got too bad. And I started to talk through my issues, and I didn't need medication again, because I didn't want to go on medication again.
Yeah.
And so I think there's an amount of personal responsibility that needs to happen where, you know, you go, okay, I've been down this road before. These are the choices that are in front of me. I want to take responsibility for my own situation, and I want to do what I need to do so that I don't have to rely on a crutch. And that's okay. You know, that's okay if you want to do that.
Yeah.
And that was the road that I went down, and it worked for me. And I learned I got tools and techniques given to me to be able to cope with the feelings that I was having. And they've become like life skills for me now.
Yeah.
And knowing yourself, like you need to know yourself and you know, how things crop up for you in your life, like the feelings that you're feeling and what it feels like to be depressed, what it feels like to be happy. You need to know the difference. You need to know the things that make you happy, the things that make you sad. And take responsibility for those things, and your own path and your own treatment for those things. Because
Yeah.
you know, if you're going to get depressed and you're not going to use the tools that you've been given or taught or whatever, and you're just going to go and take medication, then you're going to have the side effects, and you're going to have the things that come with that decision. There's always going to be consequences to the decisions that you make and the choices that you make.
Yeah.
And I didn't want those consequences of taking medication. I wanted different consequences for myself. And so that's why I didn't go down that road. I wanted a different road for myself. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it really depends on your intention going into it. I think that plays a really big part, because when you are going into it to distract from, you know, what's really happening and trying to find a solution external from yourself,
Mm.
and seeking, you know, the pill or, you know, that medicine to heal you, it most likely won't at the end of the day,
Yeah, there's
because it's up to
definitely
you.
consequences for that. It comes
Yeah.
with baggage.
Yeah.
Comes with baggage.
Yeah. 100%.
And if you're prepared to deal with that baggage, then, you know, go right ahead. I wasn't prepared to deal with it. Yeah.
Yes. Someone commented, by the way, some of the users who are commenting, the members of the group don't, their names don't show up. So I'm unable to see who this person is, but I can see what they commented. And they were talking about the Flexner report from
Oh, yes.
1910, where they removed all natural medicines from Western hospitals. I'm not surprised. Let's just say that. I think, well, talking about the medical system, the whole medical system was made by a Rockefeller who knew nothing about medicine, and he invented the whole Western medicine system. And he knew nothing about medicine at all. And he like just dis what is it when you like what's the word when you discredit? Yeah, discredit. That's the word I'm looking for. He just discredited
All
all
the
plant
natural
medicine.
ones.
Yeah,
Mm.
all the natural ones, and was just like, oh no, use all these like random things. Which, by the way, most medicines that you find today in the pharmacy are derived from plants. Like down the line, yes,
Something changed. Yes.
they've definitely done some crap to turn it into that pill, but down the line, it leads to a plant.
Do you know
So
why they've done that?
I think, well, a lot of reasons, but you tell me.
Because you can't patent nature, right? So you can't, if a herb heals something, you can't put it in a bottle and stick it on a shelf and make money out of it and say that you invented it.
Yeah.
So it's your invention. You can't patent it.
Yeah.
So what the Rockefellers did, and the Flexner report is all part of this. They discredited natural remedies because they couldn't patent them and they couldn't make money out of them
Yeah. They
the
couldn't
way
say
they
it was
wanted
their own
to.
invention.
Yeah. So what they did was they started um, pharmacy companies, and they studied nature and the properties that would in those natural remedies that would give the result that they wanted, and then they would just tweak it a little bit, and then they could patent it and put it on a shelf and call it a pharmacy, and then they could give it to people and say, okay, that drug, we patent that drug, that's ours, and that way they could
Ah,
make more money out of it.
right.
And that's why they created um, medicine the way they did, was as an avenue to sell drugs. And that's why Western medicine is based all around the pharmacy and drugs. Was basically the intention of it was to make money.
Yeah. And
And
then it
so
turned into
yes,
oh,
and they were very clever about it because over time they invested into universities, they invested in hospitals, so the tentacles go all the way through the medical
mm,
industry like that, and they make money off everything, which is why they are
yeah.
so rich
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
powerful.
that's why it's so impossible to win against the system. Like we always say, and well, I say it because mum said it, and I really resonate with this. You can't fight the system and you can't win against the system. You have to create your own new system. And that's
Mm.
100% true. Like
Which
this
is why we're
system has,
here.
yeah, yeah. Well, because this system has been created over thousands of years. Like it's not going to take, not even in a lifetime, could we ever destroy it. We have
The
to,
problem that I have with the system is that there's little choice for people who don't want to take drugs. There's little choice. If you want to take drugs, go right ahead. Like that's your decision. Everybody has the right to decide for themselves what's right for
oh,
them. But if I
yeah.
don't want to take those drugs, then don't call me a cuckoo or, stupid, or, don't name call me because I choose a different path. We
Yeah,
should have the choice. There should be a choice. If I want natural remedies, I should have that choice.
yeah,
But systematically over the years, those choices have been narrowed down and narrowed down. And more people are being called crazy for choosing a natural path. And
yes.
that's, I mean, what did we all do before there were hospitals?
We figured out our own way with plants. We were completely in tune with
We had
nature.
sophisticated, very, very sophisticated knowledge about the natural world that actually worked.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep. And for
native
everyone
native
too.
native tribes and Aboriginal people and um, you know um, Native Americans, they had their own systems of ways of healing like for thousands and thousands of years before they were westernized.
Yeah. I think part of me that gets angry about all this stuff is like when you were saying you can choose what you want to do, but let me choose what I want to do as well. And it's okay, whatever you choose is okay as long as it's you know, your
Your
choice.
choice. Mm.
But I think part of the reason why there's more to that because yeah, make your choice, but be educated on your choice. And that's why so many people are choosing the medical system is because they're not educated properly. Like there's so much misinformation out there that they're choosing based on what they think is right, but it's not the real truth all the time.
Yeah,
And
all it takes is curiosity. I've got a
oh
friend
yeah.
who healed himself from cancer. I actually know a
Mm,
few people who healed themselves from cancer, not with chemo, with natural remedies.
yeah.
And there, you talk to somebody who doesn't know that, and they're like, "You're crazy. Cancer's serious shit." Like you don't want to be mucking around with that stuff. But when you are curious and you go, "Wow, like how did they do that? Is that really possible?" And you start to just be curious about it and start asking questions, then it's like, oh, so I didn't know that that could happen. I didn't know that about
Mm,
cancer. I didn't know that about this or that. Like we've been so
yeah.
indoctrinated through movies, through advertising, through stories from other people, through the horrific stories of chemotherapy, of how devastating cancer is, that we're so scared of it that we're not even curious about it.
Yeah.
Not even curious. We would never
Exactly.
ask the question, how did you cure yourself through natural remedies? Because we're so scared of
Mm,
it. And my
yeah.
friend says cancer was the best thing that ever happened to him. I mean,
Beautiful.
now that is perspective, isn't it? That's
That's
perspective.
really getting out of the human mind right there.
Yeah. He's like, it changed his
Mm,
life. It changed it for the better. Like he just turned his life around, and he
yeah,
doesn't have cancer anymore, and he's completely cured, and and he lives a really healthy lifestyle now. I mean, and
yeah.
what's wrong with that? That can't be bad.
No, definitely not. That's amazing. I
Mm,
knew of people who had healed themselves, but I don't personally know anyone. But I know of people, and now I know of more.
yeah.
And someone said as well, the word pharmacy means to enchant in Greek, and that is a fact I am going to put in my pocket. That is a very interesting fact right there that I'll pull out whenever I need. Very interesting. Words are
Mm,
spells, man. That's
they
crazy.
really are.
Mm,
They really are.
yes. That's to enchant. Hmm. You could deep dive on that for hours trying to work out why they choose that of all things. But definitely interesting. Yeah. Life has been crazy and I think the medical institution, which is what I feel called to call it, is just there's a lot of holes in it's a whole bunch of holes.
Yeah.
And there's so many just dead ends there and they really like to limit themselves to try new things. The scientists behind finding new medicine, they really like to close doors for potential.
Yeah, I think when people get sick, they get scared, and so they give their power away, and they think, "Oh, the doctor
Yeah,
is going to cure me." But my experience has been that doctors don't know everything, and
yeah,
they
definitely.
make mistakes too. And we
They're
put so much
humans.
yeah, we put so much of our faith in them and their knowledge, but we don't even know what they're learning at university. We don't even know. So I didn't go to uni. I don't know medicine. So I don't know what they know.
Mhm.
We're just assuming they know more than we do. And sometimes they don't. Of
Yeah.
course, sometimes they do, but not all the time.
Yeah.
And this idea that people have that they can't ask questions of the doctor, or that they just have to assume that the doctor knows more or knows best. Oh, gosh, I remember my mum when I was little. I was about 6 years old, and we went to the doctor, and it was for her. But I went with her, and I was sitting in the doctor's surgery with him and her, and I was asking him loads of questions, loads of questions. And my mum said, "Can you stop asking him questions? He's the doctor." And
Yeah.
he was like, "No, it's okay. I like the fact that she's asking questions." But my mum made me feel shame for being curious and for asking him
Mhm.
questions, because he's the doctor, and I'm
Yeah.
wasting his time.
Yeah.
And because I was just naturally curious. I was a naturally curious child, and I used to ask a lot of questions when I was a kid. And she didn't like
Mm.
it because she thought it was
Yeah.
disrespectful. And you know,
Mm.
I don't subscribe to that mentality that I want to know things, and the only way I can know things is if I ask
Yeah.
and if I find out for myself. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with asking questions of people,
Yeah.
of yourself. Ask the
100%.
questions of yourself, and see what comes out.
I think that's the real medicine right there, is asking
Mm,
yourself over others. And for me, that's what like, because I'm trying to heal my body, because I have some things. Maybe heal my body isn't the right word, because I'm not sick, but I do have gunk coming up and issues coming up in my body just based off of life, I think, and just living in the matrix and living in fear a lot, and before I was awake. So I do have some problems or gunk coming up in my body, and that is coming out in, I don't know, I'm trying to be careful with my words, because as I said, words are spells, but like dysfunction, not in a bad way, but just a bit of dysfunction. That's how it's coming up.
maybe the
And
timing just isn't to your liking.
very true. But I think also I've been scared to ask myself the questions.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's another thing that the Mercury up retrograde. God, my voice, my speaking. Ugh. The Mercury retrograde has been very much.
Bringing up for you,
Yes, is asking my body the questions and not relying on,
because your body
just,
knows. You know that, don't you?
yeah, 100%. Which is why I'm not asking it, because I know that it
Mm.
knows. So yeah, I'm just trying to.
So maybe your body knows that you're not ready, and that's why it's not,
Yeah. Yeah. But
maybe.
al but I'm not ready because I'm not asking the questions,
There you
and I'm not
go. But
asking the
that's what I'm
questions because
saying.
I'm
So,
not ready.
yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what's been coming up for me, and I still haven't asked the questions yet, but I've set the intention to, and I know that it will happen soon. But I'm just scared of, I'm scared of waiting long. I'm scared of what having to wait to heal, or, taking a
Maybe
long
what you should
time to
start doing
heal.
is look for people who've got a similar story to you, so that you can prove to yourself that it's possible.
Yeah.
That's what I
Yeah.
do. If I'm in a situation that I don't like, I'll look for stories in society that positive stories that I can latch onto.
Yeah.
Real stories, real things, truth and
Yep.
fact. I'll look for those stories in society, which is part of the reason why we're doing this, because we want to create those stories
Yes.
where I can hang on to those stories and I know that I can have a similar story.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's something you should set as an intention, and it might make the path a little bit easier to walk, so that when you are ready to ask the questions, you're not so scared of it.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because a big part of it is not being able to relate to anyone around me. Like, that's a
Mm.
big part of the wound and the reason why I don't want to ask. Because feeling like you're alone is one of the worst things ever to feel.
But you're not alone. That's a
Yeah, of
limiting
course.
belief.
Yeah,
Like,
I definitely know that I'm not, but because it's not in front of me, like, because there's no one around me with a similar story, it like it just feels like that sometimes. I don't
you
believe
just
that.
can't see them. They're not in
Yeah,
your they're not in your field at the moment. They're just not in your field. They're there, they're just not in your field right now. So
yeah,
it's up to you to take responsibility and bring them into your field.
yeah. That's 100% true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. I feel good coming out of this conversation.
Yeah.
We've gone for an hour now, or almost. So, before we go, is there anything else you would like to talk about, Mum?
Well, maybe, are there any questions has
No
anyone
one's
asked?
asked any questions, but if anyone has any, go ahead and ask now. We have 2 viewers. Someone said if you could do a morning or daytime one and invite Todd in as a guest, it might help build up an audience.
Yeah, we would
100%
love that.
agree.
He's
Yes.
on our list.
Yeah, we made a list of people. Don't you
Yes,
worry, he's on our
God's
list.
on our
He's up
list.
there.
We'll be hitting him up soon. Don't you worry.
Yes. People have made comments. I can read some to you.
Yes, please.
Um, so Anna said people it's weird because some people I can see their names and then other people I can't see their names. But Anna said people often get treated with antidepressants with bipolar and it actually makes their bipolar worse, which happened to me. The
Oh,
symptoms overlap, but unfortunately it is very hard to test mental health.
yes, it is very hard. That's why you
Yes.
need that. I believe, after experiencing mental health issues myself, you need to take personal responsibility for that.
Mm,
It's very
yeah.
difficult sometimes to get diagnosed. So being proactive, seeking help, being your own advocate, not taking no for an answer, things like
Mm,
that. Like, you really have to be strong.
yeah.
And I know that's hard when you've got a mental health issue, is to advocate for yourself, but um, yeah, it's a real test. It's a real test of endurance.
Mhm.
Any others?
Yep. So, yeah, we've got quite a few comments. You two are a powerhouse. Shine like the moon, you do.
Oh, thank you.
Best mother, yeah. Best mother and daughter vibes. Um, Anna said, "Love it, girls," as well. And I read the Flexner report one. And then there's also another comment saying the Flexner report was funded by Rockefeller. Big Pharma is backed by the oil industry.
Mm,
Mm.
yes, it is.
Everything that is happening right now is about choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's about it. Yeah. That's everything so far. And there's love
Okay.
hearts in the chat as well.
Well, let's leave it there.
Yeah.
We've been
Beautiful
going for an
first
hour.
time, first time
Yay! We've done
show.
it.
Yes. We were so nervous. Like we had to run it through a couple times of how we're going to introduce ourselves and everything, but
Yeah, but good
yeah.
on you, Juliet, because you set up the streaming and connected it to Facebook. You did all that. So I really appreciate it.
No, it's my pleasure. It was fun learning, actually. It's fun learning. All right, everyone. Well, we're sending our love and we'll see you soon. We'll
Yes.
definitely be doing more of these and regularly as well. So, yeah.
Yes, this
Bye.
is just the beginning.
Just the beginning. Right. Bye, everyone. Mwah, mwah.
Bye.